What's up everybody? I just finished building my new 2x72 belt grinder. This is a Beck Tools Gen 4 BA shredder. I've had the Gen 3 for a little while. I really like the changes that they've made on this kit. Now to assemble it, all you need to do is just a little bit of welding. There's no more machining of parts or anything involved. It's a really nice design and it's very intuitive how it goes together. So follow along. I'll put a link down in the description for anybody that's looking to get one. I'll also have a discount code for it. Let's get started. All right, first thing I like to do is just deburr all the parts. You got these little areas here where it's the start and stop from where the pieces are cut out. If you don't have a belt grinder like I do, you can just use an angle grinder or something. All right, so here's a look at all the parts you get. You've got your base, you've got some of the arms here, and then you've got like your main assembly. And it may look like there's a lot of stuff here, but really you've got just a few like sub-assemblies. So all these pieces here attached together, and this stuff is, kind of hard to mess up. So you've got tabs on here. One of these tabs is smaller, one is bigger. So obviously the smaller one is going to go into this thinner plate here, and then the thicker one will go into this thicker plate here. You also get all your hardware that you're going to need. Everything's in that bag there. And yeah, there is a lot of stuff in there, but again, I promise it really isn't as complicated as it looks. So now that everything's cleaned up and deburred, I'm just going to start assembling the pieces. I start with the base. Again, as you can see, it just goes together very naturally and you really can't mess it up. That's the best thing about this kit. Of course, there's instructions available on their website. There's also some more in-depth build videos that show you exactly step-by-step how to do everything. I'm just going to kind of glaze over how this is assembled in this video here, just to show people who are thinking about getting one. But to be honest with you, if you follow what I do here and just use a little bit of common sense, you'll have no problem getting this thing assembled. It really is that easy. And as you can see there, I just was not able to mess those parts up. It's great having instructions for stuff, but I'm sure you guys have done it. I know I've definitely done it where I've been reading instructions and just kind of misread something and put it together wrong. So it's nice when there's fail-safes in place that prevent you from doing that. And I just clamp everything together, and I don't go too crazy with the clamps, and just make sure that stuff slides together properly. I'm using my Everlast TIG welder on this. I'll put some information down in the description about that. I've got a MIG welder too, but I just prefer TIG welding. It's a little cleaner, and I'm just better at it. I'm more comfortable with it. So these pieces here, I'm actually going to be dressing everything nicely. I won't worry about it so much with the back, but the front, I want to fill all of these little voids in here and grind them smooth, and then I'll paint it nice, and it'll, kind of look all like one nice piece. So that's not something you have to do, of course. You can just do a bunch of little tack welds, get this thing all together, and get it working. It depends on how nice you want to make it. But I enjoy having nice looking tools, so I want to make it a little more perfect. You can see here where I'm really getting those ground down nice and getting that finish nice. So here I'm putting the nuts in. These are going to hold a couple of the little stops that'll lock the arms in place. There's a bunch of ways you could do this. I used the bolt to kind of hold it into the position I needed it. You could just slide the tubes in and maybe put a little bit of shim or something in there to hold it up a little bit in a way. And again, I just use clamps on stuff. I'm mostly doing tack welds, nothing over an inch really. I'll work my way around to kind of keep stuff so it's not pulling too much one way or another. And I do periodically check just to make sure that stuff is, nice and square. I'm just getting the base welded together again, just doing like tack welds. You don't have to go too crazy on this. There's a lot of little welds, so there's plenty of strength built into this whole thing, and all the locking tabs I think are really where all that strength and rigidity come from anyway. And you can see here I've just got one clamp on it. That's plenty to hold this together. It's just sandwiching that piece in the middle and holds everything nice and square. So now with this front handle here, I am filling this in again, and I'll grind this nice. Again, you don't have to go as crazy as I'm going with this. It's just what my preference is for it. I just wanted it to look a little nicer. I didn't show these pieces here at the beginning. This is the table assembly. There's just that one little tab that gets welded onto the bottom of the table. Just be careful when you're welding that. Don't go too crazy because you will make that table warp a little bit. But you can, put a little more heat on it and straighten it out if you need to. So now I'm just degreasing all the parts. I'm just using some Windex for that. Again, I said I wanted to clean this up real nice and just make it kind of look nice. Alright, so I'm starting here with an etching primer. That's what this green primer is. Kind of helps bite into the metal, helps remove any little bits of rust that may be on there. Seals everything up nice. Alright, now I'm going with a high build primer. This is gray. This is all like automotive primers that I get at AutoZone. There's probably different stuff you can use, but this stuff has always worked well for me, and I usually have a lot of it on hand anyway. So now I'm just sanding it. Again, you don't have to go this crazy with it. I'm just trying to get a real nice finish on here. So I'm going to level all that primer out really nice before I start putting the paint on. And I'm starting with red. And again, this is like an automotive paint. And I actually sprayed it with a like a pearl clear coat just to kind of make it pop a little bit and add a little bit of character to it. Again, you don't have to go this crazy with it. I'm really going over the top here. And I had built a base. That's something you'll need to figure out. Beck Tools does sell a base that you can get, and it's a really nice one. I just hadn't gotten one, so I ended up building my own. Choose your own adventure. I do like to put them on wheels. Some people may advise against that. I'll put a link to the casters that I use because I get some that have these feet that come down and lock it so it can't move around, and I really like those. Here I am just putting those in. So if you'll see it's kind of hard to put those in, but there's a little Allen key that you can use to actually turn that into there. And it's a good idea just to scrape any paint out of there. I probably should have taped it off or something. So maybe shove some rags down in there or whatever so you're not spraying in there. But you can just scrape out any excess and use a file just to clean it up a little bit. It's best not to have anything in there to impede the movement of those two arms that need to go in. And what I'm using here is this dry moly lube. So it's not really a paint. It's, it is actually a lubricant, but it just holds up very well. It doesn't really scratch off too easy, and it does help the parts move. And it does seem to protect them from rust. So I really like that on any non-painted surfaces. I know it kind of looks like I'm painting it, but so I made a mistake here. I think I'll show it in a minute. I think the arm is actually supposed to be in the middle, so just don't make this mistake. Again, I wasn't following the instructions. It would have saved me a few minutes here had I done that, but just putting the mount for the two wheels on. So here's another part. You just got to bend these. And I'll show you where they go in a minute. So I just put them in a vise, hammer them over. If you got a press or something, of course you can use that, but very easy to do it this way. And I just use the side just to make sure they're nice and square. I really like this strut. So this is what sets your tension on the belt. I like that a lot. And you want to make sure that the unpainted part or the uncovered part or whatever, the rod is sticking down there. I'm getting the motor in. Again, just using all the hardware it came with. It's a really great kit. Along with this, I would suggest getting the wheels and everything that they sell. I think that's the best way to get it. You may have to play with spacers here just to get everything aligned just right. I kind of look at it from the front and just make a imaginary line down everything with my eye just to make sure everything looks pretty square. But once you get the belt on, you'll really see if something is not right. You can see here some of the adjusting mechanism. Stuff really works great to be able to adjust location of the belt. Yeah, so here I am fixing that. As soon as I went to put the belt on, I could see that it was off, and all I need to do is just move some of those spacers there over and get that piece in the center. Not a big deal. Can be a little bit of a headache to get that together with those washers. Just take your time with it and try not to get too frustrated. Alright, so there we go. Now we're back together in the correct position with that arm. Belt is running pretty true. I've got the platen on, so that was the platen brackets that you saw me bending earlier. And these parts here are all sprayed with that moly lube. They kind of look black, but it's more like a greenish gray color. It's a nice finish. I like that stuff. All these little quick locks are really nice. Really make it handy for adjusting all this stuff, making sure everything is square, or if you don't want it square, making sure it's at whatever angle you want it at. It's a very well thought out design. I really like this machine. So here I am mounting my VFD. Again, there's a lot of options you can go with here. I've got a KB AC VFD. You can go with some cheap Chinese ones. I've used them before on grinders. I have got one on my other Beck's Armory grinder. I have no complaints about that. I'll put a link in the description to that. I'll put a link in the description to the one that I used here. You know, wiring is very easy, so you just follow this diagram here. And this is going to tell us exactly what wires need to be connected together. So 4, 5, and 6 will just connect together. 1 and 7 will connect to one of the wires that I pulled in. 2 and 8 will connect to another. And then 3 and 9 will connect to the final one. And basically what I'm doing is just twisting the wires together for those numbers that it's telling me. So if you're running it on, you know, the high voltage or the low voltage, you're just going to follow that diagram. So I'm doing it for a 3-phase motor, but I'll be using the VFD to convert it to single phase. So this is 220, but it's single phase. So those were the wires from my motor. As you can see, there's 4 of them, because that is a 3-phase motor. Now I'm running in the wires that go to my plug, or you can hardwire them in, but there will be 3 wires here because it's 220 single phase. Just got that white and black, and then there's the green one, which is the ground. Alright, plug it in, and I'm just going to remove that for now. And you can see when I turned it on, it's going backwards. And there's like a 50% chance of getting it right, and I feel like I always get it wrong, so all I did was swap those wires around. Now you can see there, so these VFDs have capacitors in them. It's always good to do whatever needs to be done to drain the power out of them. On these ones, you have to hold the switch up just to get it to run. On the cheaper Chinese ones, I just turn it on and it will drain the battery down. See, I'm just pulling 2 random ones off. It doesn't matter which ones. And I'm just swapping the black and white wire in this case. Or I'm sorry, the white and red wire, I should say. And that was the white and red wire that were coming from the motor. Alright, starting it up again. It seems like it's tracking pretty good. A couple little adjustments to these arms, and that's something you'll have to play with and get comfortable with doing, but I just like to take it slow, adjust one at a time. And yeah, there she is already, looking great, running great, working great. Really like these machines. They did a really good job designing them. Like I said, it's great being able to put them together. It's just so intuitive, and it's really great having an affordable belt grinder. Some of these can be very expensive, and you got to do a little work here on your own, but I think it's worth it. All right, that's it. I told you this would be easy to put together. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, just leave them down below. If you can like, share, all the things on this video, I'd really appreciate that. And just as a reminder, I'll put a link and a discount code in the description so you guys can save some money if you want to get one of these for yourself. Thanks, and I'll see everybody later.